Now we're going to look at solving quadratic equations. So we spent time doing the factoring, and if we had a question like this, b squared plus 8b plus 15, we talked about how we're going to factor that. All we're going to do now is focus on what if there's an equal sign? What if this becomes an equation? Well, the first thing we're going to do is just focus on this. Now notice this side is equal to 0. We'll talk about in the next video what if that's not equal to 0. But we're going to factor this guy down. Since there's no coefficient out front, since there's no number out here, we know we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 15, and because of the plus sign out front, add to positive 8. So if I take all the numbers for 15, so 1 and 15 and 3 and 5 are the only ways to get to 15, since the pair of 3 and 5 multiply to 15 and add to 8, that is how I'm going to factor this down. So it's going to be b plus 3 and b plus 5. And we're just going to move the equal 0 down. Now, when we go to solve this thing, what I want you to keep in mind is if you talk about multiplying two numbers together, which is what this is basically just this quantity, b plus 3, which is a value, times another quantity, b plus 5. If I multiply two numbers together and I get 0 as the answer, the guarantee is that one of those two had to be 0, because 0 times anything is 0. So all we're going to do is take both of the parts, the b plus 3, which is one of the parts, and set that equal to 0. And ask yourselves, when does b plus 3 equal 0? What would the b value happen to be? Well, to do that, I just isolate b. So when b is negative 3, this part right here will have a value of 0. If this is 0, it doesn't make a difference what you're multiplying it by. You're going to get 0. If I look at the other one, b plus 5, and set that equal to 0, I say, okay, well, what makes this 0? Well, again, subtract 5 from both sides. I get b equals negative 5. I end up with two solutions here. If I were to go back and plug in negative 3, and work this all the way out, I would get 0. If I were to plug in negative 5 and work this all the way out, I would also get 0. Let's try another example. Our next one we're looking at is v squared minus 2v minus 35 equals 0. Again, we're already set equal to 0. Well, now we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 35, but because of the negative sign, have to subtract to negative 2. Well, you make your list of numbers, and you're going to end up with v minus 7 and v plus 5. You're all very good at this point of factoring, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. And then all you would do is take each piece, set it equal to 0, add 7 to both sides over here, subtract 5 from both sides over here, and you have your two solutions. What if it's a scenario that's a little bit more challenging? What if there was a leading coefficient? What if I had 3a squared plus 7a minus 40, and there was an equal 0 on the end? Forget about the equal 0. Do exactly what we've done before, which I think many of you are using this method here. Look at the 120 and ask yourselves, what are my ways to get to 120? And I'm looking for the pair, don't forget, that's going to get me positive 7. So 3 and 40, 4 and 30. Use a calculator if you need to. Oops, and I forgot, of course, the pair that we actually need. 8 and 15. So 8 and 15 because I'm thinking about subtraction, I'm thinking about a negative 120. 8 and 15 are 7 apart. So I'm going to go 3a squared. Because I want positive 7a, the 8's negative, the 15's positive, and I bring that 40 down. Again, I'm not going to worry about this, but I'm going to bring this equal 0 down at the very end. Not even thinking about it though. Ask myself, what do these guys have in common? This is all the stuff we did last week. Have to match up the parentheses in the back, so I know this has to be 3a minus 8, which means I factored out a 5. If you're struggling with the factoring, please let me know, but I think at this point most of you are in pretty good shape with this. And then once I factor this thing, all I have to do is take each individual piece. So I take a plus 5 and set that equal to 0. Subtract 5 from both sides, you get negative 5. Take the 3a minus 8, set that equal to 0. Solve for a, so you're going to add 8 to both sides. Then you're going to divide by 3. And you have your 2 answers. Try the practice questions. Let me know if you have anything to go.